Welcome back to Shan the channel. I'm Shan, and today I'm going to be doing another tier list. So this is an Arrowverse tier list. I have included every single season of the Arrowverse. That means Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, Constantine, Batwoman, Black Lightning, Stargirl, Superman and Lois, even the 90s Flash series. We've also got some shorts, there's a few little shorts that are part of the Arrowverse as well. And I've also included the crossovers as well. I'm going to be ranking those as well individually. So we've got our work cut out here for us. So we've got the tiers that we have here today are great, good, mid-okay, bad, and garbage. Just letting you guys know that this is just my opinion. I am by no means correct. You may have a different opinion, and if you do, let me know in a kind and sensible manner, because you might be wrong too. These are all just opinions. Alright, so we're going to start with Arrow, Season 1. This is the season where he comes back from the island and he's working by himself for the first couple of episodes. The big bad for the season is Malcolm Merlyn and the earthquake device. This is a season that has Tommy in it, and this is also the season that they leaned heavily into Laurel and Oliver, being romantically involved together. They kind of dropped that later on in the series, which I'm still upset about, but you know what? Whatever. Yeah, so as a starter, I think season 1 of Arrow is pretty good. I don't think it's great. I think that there are some better seasons of different shows. So I think I'm going to put this as good. I think it's a good starting point. I might change my mind on it a bit later, but we'll see. Season 2 of Arrow. This is the season where we have Slade come into the picture. I mean, he was in season 1, but this is where they really ramp up his character. We also have Roy Harper in this season, and that was pretty exciting for me. We also introduced Sarah Lance, which, I mean, I love her so much. Oh, yes, we also had Brother Blood in this season. He was the guy from Lucifer, Detective Douche. I feel like he wasn't as fleshed out as some of the other stories, but I think season 2 of Arrow, I would list this as great, to be honest. I think it's great. Season 3. This is when they started going down the Oliver and Felicity route, which I was upset about because I'm a big fan of the comic pairing of Laurel and Oliver, or Black Canary and Green Arrow. This season also had Ra's al Ghul and the League of Assassins, I think is what they called them in the show. It was a while ago. That's right. This is the season that started with the first episode ended with Sarah getting killed. I remember that being a big deal. Roy is also wearing his costume now, so that's pretty cool. I think overall this season's kind of mid, to be honest. Season 4 of Arrow. Okay, we're getting into the rough section, I think. Season 4 was a real drag for me. So this one had Damien Darhk in it. It had Speedy, Thea becoming Speedy, so that was kind of cool. I think Damien Darhk later on in the series of the Arrowverse has became a really great character, and I think he was just misplaced in Arrow because it's very grounded, and having magic in the season was kind of weird. And the only way that you can kind of beat magic is if you get magic yourself or find a way to get rid of the magic. I think this season Thea had some kind of boyfriend that got killed and I didn't care for. And then there's always the elephant in the room, where this is the season they killed Laurel. I was pissed. I was so pissed. I almost didn't continue the series. yeah, they started this season with like a flash forward of someone dying, and then they like showed it off slowly throughout the season. And I think it was revealed or something that they didn't know who was going to be in the, like, who's going to die until like maybe a month away from that episode. So that's kind of frustrating because like I don't like when TV shows bring in a mystery but don't have the answer to the mystery until like 5 minutes before they're about to reveal it. I think that is just really poor writing. So season 4 for me was a big drag. I don't know if it's bad or garbage though. I believe this season Diggle had his brother come back to life, and that pissed me off because it felt like, oh, all of a sudden all of these characters that were dead are alive, and I was getting frustrated by that, and that led to Laurel getting killed. Yeah, I'm gonna say that this is, look, I know, I'm aware, okay, I'm aware that we got like a cool version of Laurel later on in the series, but I still believe that they only did that retroactively because they f***ed up and they were repairing their mistake, which means ultimately it was the right decision, but there's no reason you couldn't have gone there with the original Oral. Yeah, just called it Oral, not Laurel. It's awkward. I'm gonna put this at garbage. Sorry, but it's true. I can't really think of positives in this season. Those were just all negatives. Also, his suit in that season, for like, why are they showing his biceps and stuff? That was so embarrassing. Terrible decision. Season 5 of Arrow. This is a lot of people's favorite season. I can understand why. However, I don't think it's nearly as good as season 2. I'd probably put it on par with season 1. I think we start this season with Tobias. I called him Tobias Whale the other day, but that's the guy from Black Lightning. But anyways, and then we have Prometheus later on in the series, and that's when it like really ramps up and gets really quite interesting. I think at the end of the season, he ends up working with Slade, I think, to take down Prometheus. I don't remember. Oh my god. This season finale also, you know what? The season finale, really, really good, but ultimately meant nothing. The whole island gets blown up, but only one person dies. I thought that was really disappointing, but overall, I would say that this is probably a pretty good season. Season 6 of Arrow. Wow, I think that this is probably my least favorite season. This is the season where they had Michael Emerson in it, I believe. And then they had like a whole bunch of different villains come after the team, and then the team splintered, and then there was new Team Arrow and old Team Arrow, and they tried to create their own civil war, and like that just doesn't work for characters that were just introduced like last season. It made me despise the characters, and I don't think that they, like the new Team Arrow characters, and I don't think they ever really redeemed themselves for me. So this is definitely a garbage season for me. I don't even really remember. Oh yeah, this is the season that had Ricardo Diaz in it as the big bad at the end. And I thought that he was pathetic. He was so pathetic. I don't know. Every other season's villain has had like a reason for being able to fight, but this guy just kind of, he felt like a low level thug, like someone that could just be hired by a big bad. And so I don't know, he just didn't do it for me. Season 7 of Arrow. I think the first section of the season was pretty good with him being in the prison. There was a really good like scene. There was a really good episode of him like kind of dealing with Ricardo Diaz still in this season. I think the season got worse as it went on, because I think this is the season where they introduce a illegitimate sister. And I'm aware that like she's from the comics, but it just felt really out of nowhere. And the fact that she like betrayed them all, I don't know, it just didn't work for me. They made it out like she was the mastermind for like all of these bad things that have happened to Oliver, which retroactively kind of ruins, you know, some of the emotional beats, kind of makes her seem like too diabolical. And then they try to redeem her in the end, and that didn't make any sense either. And they had like this circle thing that just kind of disappeared. I'm gonna have to put this one at mid-okay, because the first half was good, but the second half really let me down, I think. Oh, there was also the fact that she was going around pretending to be the Green Arrow and like saving people and everything. For what reason? No idea. Season 8 of Arrow. This is the season that tied into the Crisis on Infinite Earths event. The whole season kind of focused on Oliver pretty much by himself. We had a lot of Laurel, and so I was excited about that. I really liked seeing this version of Laurel. I would have really liked them to develop a relationship together, but it was too far gone on the Felicity side of things, so whatever. You know, Diggle was also part of it. I really liked that every episode kind of focused on like a season of the show, with a lot of returning cast. It really felt like a love letter of a season, and I'd probably put this at good. You know what? No, I think this is a great season. I think that's a great season. So this is Arrow. This is what Arrow is looking like. I'm intrigued to see where we're going to go from here. We're moving on to The Flash. The Flash season 1. This is the season where he's just gotten his powers. He is learning how to use them. We got Eobard Thawne. This is the season that Eobard Thawne is the best version of himself. Later on, they really overused him. So I think that this season was absolute lightning in a bottle and deserves to be in the great category. There was just so many amazing things in this season that I can't think of right now. You know, getting to know Caitlin and Cisco was great. Episode 15, where you watch Cisco get killed and then time reverses. Brilliant cinema. It's so long ago now that I can't think of like the positives. I just know that it was great. Season 2. This is the season where Jay Garrick appears, but it's not really Jay Garrick. That was very, very, very exciting. He even had the hat. That was so cool. This is when we started to learn about the multiverse, and we went to Earth 2. I think that the end of the season kind of got a bit messy, but overall, I think it's a pretty good season. There was so many Easter eggs when he went to Earth 2. This is the season where we got Harry Wells, and he's my favorite version of Harrison Wells. This is also the season where they introduced Wally West and Jesse Quick, and it's a good season. Season 3 of The Flash, we had Savitar, we had Julian Albert, I think his name was. Wally West finally became Kid Flash, and that was exciting. I feel like they didn't really do much with him though, which was kind of disappointing. I feel like the Savitar reveal was stretched out way too long. I would have loved if they had done what Arrow did, in that they revealed who it was earlier in the season, and then they could actually delve into an evil version of Barry, because we didn't really get to throughout the entire show, we didn't really get to see an evil version of Barry really for very long. And I think that's a downside, because I think Grant is pretty good at playing a bad guy. I think we learn about the identity like 2 episodes before the finale. This is also the season that began with Flashpoint, and I was really disappointed by that, because despite the fact that it left ramifications throughout the season, it didn't really do much. Flashpoint as a concept is so cool. If you've never seen it, you should really watch the Flashpoint animated film. It's so good. But this only lasted one episode, and I feel like they could have done so much more with it. There is an arc on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's like 3 or 4 episodes where they're like inside of a different reality. And they could have done that, but it just felt like they were too scared to actually commit to something like that. The biggest problem, I think, is that the worst thing that actually happens in this alternate reality is that I think Wally gets severely injured or breaks his back or something like that. Maybe he actually dies. I don't actually know. I don't remember. But it didn't really feel like it warranted having to go back to the other version, because if you've seen the Flashpoint movie, there's so many horrible things in that universe that you're like, okay, well, I need to fix this now. But like here, there was only like one bad thing and everything else was fine. I feel like they just could have gone darker. So I think that this is a mid-season. It's also the season that, we spent trying to save Iris, and, there was a really sweet moment with her, saying her vows over a video, which was, again, sweet. But it doesn't save the season from being just mid. Season 4 of The Flash. This is the season where the comedy just overtook the show. We had the Thinker as a villain. I thought that he was very interesting as a villain. I didn't like when he started body swapping, because each body swap acted completely different from the character, and they should have just kept the actor, because he was great. Like, he was really good. There was just so much comedy in this season, and it was quite disappointing. The suit looked good, though. Very leathery. I mean, all of the suits to this point had been quite leathery. This is the season where I think Caitlin finally becomes Killer Frost, or has dual identity. Dude, to keep track of that is so difficult, because one season is a dual identity, another season it's this, another season it's that. Yeah, so this is the season where there was bus metas. They introduced Ralph Dibny in this season, and I didn't like him very much to begin with. He did grow on me. But otherwise, I think this season was kind of bad. Sorry. There wasn't much in there that I enjoyed, so this is the first bad one that we've got on here. Season 5. I remember this starting out quite cool. The idea of having Barry's daughter around was quite cool. I think she acted way too childish, though. I think she's supposed to be early 20s, but she was acting like she was 14. And that was quite frustrating. I think that they did better with her characterization later on in the show. I'm thinking about what happened in the season, and I've just remembered this is the cicada season. This is the season with American Pie. He did not deserve to be a season-long villain, and thankfully he wasn't, but they stretched him out way too long. He was definitely, not that big of a villain, and a lot of the times that they would take him down, they would just leave him and run away. There was plenty of times that they could have, actually arrested him or whatever, but they didn't. And then they finally deal with him, and then for some reason his daughter is now Cicada, and she came back from the future, and it never really made sense to me, to be honest. I mean, it was cool to see. I know her as Alicia from Smallville. It was cool to see the actress again, but yeah, no, they were not good villains. Even though the payoff at the end was Eobard getting free, I thought that was kind of cool, but there was some plot holes there which I can't think of right now, but I do remember being an issue. I do like that the season ended with Nora getting erased because of all the mistakes that she made. But yeah, no, I think that this is probably a bad season as well. It's pretty bad. There wasn't enough good stuff in there. Season 6 of The Flash. The first half of the season, or I guess the first third of the season, was all about leading up to Crisis and blood work. I thought that he was a great villain. I was very invested in the two-parter, The Last Temptation of Barry Allen. And Speed Force dying was cool. The second half of the season, though, like there was like a couple of filler episodes, and then the second half of the season was a letdown. We had Mirror Monarch. We had someone take over Iris's place, a mirror version of her. Very frustrating. I just don't think she was a very good villain, and they kind of... This is the season that ended prematurely because of COVID, and the first 2 episodes of season 7 kind of dealt with the end of Mirror Monarch. But I just didn't like her. She was very lame as a villain. This is the season that introduced Chester and Allegra, 2 characters that I despise, and it doesn't get much better from here. Anyways, I'm gonna put this one at... I'm gonna put it at mid okay, because the first section of the season was pretty good. Season 7 of The Flash. This one, I think, is on most people's, like, lowest list. This season was not good. It was not good at all. The season felt kind of aimless. The last section of the season was about Godspeed, and I can't even remember what the first section was about. I just remember this season being really boring. Oh, that's right. The first half of the season was about the forces, and Barry and Iris's force children. Oh my god, help! That was so bad. Why did they think that was a good idea? Yikes! And then like Speed Force Nora, like taking Nora's face all the time was weird. Being evil and wearing all black was a thing. Wow, this was a garbage season. The fight with the lightsabers. Why? Oh my god. Yeah, no, that was garbage. Season 8 of The Flash. This season started with the crossover event, which we will get to talking to eventually. He gets his gold boots, and that's a huge highlight for me. His suit, the gold boots, it's the best he's ever looked. It was so good. I actually don't remember what happened in season 8. What happened in season 8? This is the Deathstorm arc. It was cool to see Ronnie back, kind of. This also led to Killer Frost's demise, and Caitlin wanting to bring her back. It was a little frustrating to watch, I think. Oh, there was also like this season had so many like mini arcs. This one had the Eobard Dawn, but like he was good. And then there was a woman Flash. I don't remember what her name was. And for some reason, he, like, peeled his face off and he was Tom Cavanaugh, which was weird. I don't know. And I think this is the one where Barry just beats him by, like, sitting down and meditating. Wow, this was a pretty bad season 2. I'm gonna put this at, man, I don't know, actually. Is there any pluses? Like, okay, the only upside to this season was the boots. So, yeah, this is a pretty garbage season. Season 9. Over the course of the last couple of seasons of The Flash, it focused very heavily on Cecile, Chester, and Allegra. All characters that I did not like. And it kind of sidelined Barry a lot. This season created a new version of Caitlin. She was a god of some kind. I don't know, man. It was weird. What a choice. Why? This season had 2 of the best episodes of the series, though. We had the return of Wally West in one of them, and with Oliver as well, and I think his name is Bloodwork. I'm sticking by Bloodwork. Yeah, that was a really good episode. And then we had the episode where he saved himself from Eobard in the past. I thought that was really exciting, but a lot of this season was bogged down by focusing on characters that were just uninteresting. Honestly, this season had 13 episodes, I think, and like 6 of them were filler. The first section of the season was like a Batwoman that was from another reality, I think, or something. They didn't really do a very good job with that story arc either. Yeah, I'd have to put, like, aside from the 2 very good episodes, which had some not great stuff in it still, I would probably say this is a pretty bad season. So that is The Flash. Very, very mixed here. Most of this, it's interesting that most of The Flash seems to be more on the bad and garbage side than Arrow was, but we'll see how the rest of the Arrowverse fares. Next up is Supergirl. Supergirl Season 1. This was the season that was not on the CW. It was on CBS, I believe. They had a pretty big focus on James and Kara being romantically involved, which was immediately dropped in Season 2, thank God, because they did not work. They didn't have any chemistry. This is the season that Kara's aunt shows up. And she's like a twin. And she gets killed. I think this is the most heavy-handed season of the show. I feel like they pushed woman superhero a bit too much in this one. I also don't like that she wasn't very blonde in this one. She became more blonde as the show went on, which I was happy about. Yeah, I'd probably put this at mid okay. I think this is mid. Season 2 of Supergirl. This is the season that saw Mon-El join the cast. I liked Kara and Mon-El as a couple. This is also the season that had his parents show up, and they were kind of the bad guys at the end. This is the season that Alex came out as gay. Oh, this is also the season that they introduced Superman into the franchise. So that was pretty cool. I remember being really excited about that. I think this is more of the same. I think this is kind of mid-okay. Season 3 of Supergirl. This season started out really strong with Reign as a villain. We had her, and then slowly introduced, well, kind of not slowly, but they introduced other god killers or something. Her daughter was very annoying. And then I think I heard, well, you guys told me that the, like, writers or something, or the showrunner or something got fired midway through the season, so they needed to pivot the story, which the way that they wrapped up season 3 did not make sense, and I was kind of disappointed because the story was quite interesting with Reign, and this is the first time you saw Supergirl actually get beat, like really beat up, and I thought that was cool to see. You know, you got to take down your heroes every now and then so that you can build them up again. This is also the season that Mon-El came back, because he went through a portal or something into the future, and he came back and he was married, and then they like reconnected, but then he left anyways, which was really random. Yeah, I think that this is probably mid-okay as well. It would be better if they stuck the landing. I think that this would be a good season. Maybe not great, but good if they had stuck the landing with the way that the beginning of the season started. Season 4, we had like an evil Russian version of Red Daughter, that's right. This is also the season they introduced Lex. I thought he was phenomenal here. He did a great job. I think that they tried to recreate it multiple times later on in the show, but it didn't work as well as it did here. Yeah, I don't remember much else from season 4. Oh, right. We had, I think his name was Ben, but he was like a, he was like the bad guy. Agent Liberty, I think his name was. This one was quite political, and so it didn't gel very much for me, but I think I'd also put this at mid-okay. Am I just going to be putting the whole series at mid-okay? I don't know. We'll find out. Season 5 of Supergirl. This is the season where they had like those lenses where they would go into an alternate reality thing. It's also the season that they had these weird, I don't want to call them gods, but somethings. She got pants in this season. That's cool. This is a season that Lena found out about Kara's secret and did some shady shit. No, I'm gonna have to put this one at bad. This is kind of bad, wasn't it? Season 6 of Supergirl. I think it only had 2 good episodes, and it was the episodes where Nia and Rainey went back in time, and I thought those were quite interesting. We had like, I think her name was like Nixie or something. She was the big bad of the season, and then for some reason in the series finale, just like a whole bunch of previous villains showed up for no other reason other than the fact that it was the series finale. You know what, actually, I think this is a garbage season. I think it was pretty bad. There was some pretty bad things in it that I can't think of right now. I was also watching Superman and Lois as well at the time, and like going back to this show after watching Superman and Lois, it was really tough to watch, like the effects and stuff. So Supergirl is not doing so well. Next up we have Legends of Tomorrow. So season 1 we have Vandal Savage as the big villain. I think he just wanted to kill Hawkman and Hawkgirl, and both of them just kind of disappeared from the show after season 1. I think they had Mick Rory as like a dude that was hunting them. I think that this season, like a lot of people give this season a lot of shit because like the series develops in a very, very different direction but this one's like very serious, and I think a lot of people find this one kind of bad, but I think it's kind of mid, to be honest. I think it's fine. I didn't hate it like everyone else. Season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow. This is the season that introduced a different version of Vixen, and we also got Nate. The big bad was the Legion of Doom. I quite liked this season, I think. I would probably put this at good. I really enjoyed the alternate reality episodes, maybe, at the end of the season. I think they even had, maybe they had Snart back in this one, I'm not sure. But they did have Malcolm. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about that one, actually. Season 3 of Legends of Tomorrow. This is the season where the tonal shift started to change. This is where they were collecting the totems. That's the word I'm looking for. And it ended with a giant CGI battle with a dragon and giant Bebo. I think I quite liked this season. It was a lot of fun. We had Rip in this one, and I think he sacrificed himself. We also had Damien Dark in this one, and this is the introduction of Nora Dark as well, like an older version of her. And I liked her. Yeah, I think I'd have to put this one at good. I enjoyed this season a lot. Season 4 of Legends of Tomorrow. We had... Oh yeah, that's right. Constantine was also in last season too. Oh well. This season had Constantine, Zari, a different version of Maisie playing a different character other than Vixen. It was like a shapeshifter. This is a season I think that they had that werewolf girl and she was very annoying. And they like pushed Gary on us a lot, I think. Wow, I don't really remember, eh? Let's take a look. Yes, okay, so this is the season where we had like a whole theme park being made. I don't know, man. I didn't like this one, actually. I think it was bad. Sorry. Not sorry. Season 5. I believe this is the one where they were collecting the loom. And then we found out that Maisie's character, Charlie, that's her name, was one of the Fates. This is also the season where we meet Berard. I really liked him as a character. And we got a different version of Zari, which I was pissed about because I really liked the OG Zari. But she did grow on me. We had Astra in this season as well, I believe. I think this season was mid. Yeah, mid for me. Season 6 of Legends of Tomorrow. This is the season where Sarah was kidnapped and killed and cloned, which pissed off a lot of the fan base because it felt like it wasn't the OG Sarah, which I can understand. I kind of just got over it, I think. Kind of just forgot after a while and just kind of was Sarah for me, I think. But I can understand how you couldn't let that go. This is a season that Ava Lance got engaged. We dealt with a lot of aliens in this season. We found out that Gary was an alien, which infinitely improved his character. I think we met Spooner this season as well. I thought she was an okay addition. I think this season was okay. There was also the guy, I don't remember what his name was, but he was a bad guy. He's a dude that cloned Sarah. He was very annoying. Season 7, which was the last season as it got cancelled. Man, I don't remember what happened in this season. Let's find out. This is a season that, for some reason, they couldn't use Constantine anymore, so they recast his character. Like, so they recast the actor into a different role. I didn't much care for the new character, to be honest. I thought it was very frustrating. This is the season with Evil Gideon and the clones. Yeah, this wasn't a great season. I'm gonna be honest, this is probably pretty bad. It's pretty forgettable. This was the last one that I watched, and I don't really remember what happened, so there you go. Next up is Batwoman. Batwoman Season 1. This is the only season with Ruby Rose in the role. This is the season where they introduced all the characters. We ended the season with Hush pretending to be Bruce Wayne. I'm gonna be honest, this show got a lot of hate, and a lot of the dialogue was quite cringe, I'm not gonna lie, but it wasn't as bad as people thought. But I have to say that Ruby Rose in the role wasn't very good, so I'm gonna have to say that season 1 was bad. It wasn't as bad as people thought. People thought it was garbage. It's not garbage. There were some interesting things in there. Season 2 of Batwoman, they introduced Ryan as the new Batwoman. They started the season with this whole flower business. She got shot with kryptonite and it was hurting her, and she didn't talk about it, and then they just kind of wrapped it up and she was healed after, I don't know, 11 episodes or something. The next section was about Kate Kane, and they had her come back, but she was recast and she was brainwashed. This season felt kind of all over the place. I really liked the new character of Ryan. I thought that she was better than Kate Kane. And I just think that the season was a bit messy. So I think I'd put season 2 on mid. Season 3 of Batwoman. Gonna be really difficult because I actually kind of enjoyed season 3 more than I enjoyed season 2, because it had a very cohesive story. You know, they were looking for these trophies, these Batman trophy, villain trophies, and she even had her own villain to deal with, her own little Joker version with her brother. They even managed to redeem Alice quite a bit, and they even had Mary. They even had Mary turn into a version of Poison Ivy. All very interesting stuff. The problem is I don't know if I can list this as good. Like, because when I think of good, I think of Arrow season 1, season 5. Like, I'm thinking of these, but I don't know that season 3 of Batwoman is on par with them. But I think that it's better than season 2. So, you know what? I think it's good. I'm going to put it at good. You can fight me if you want. Let's go. Next up we have Black Lightning. This one's just going to be straight up bias from me, because I actually didn't really like the show. I watched the entirety of it, but even from start to finish, it was not my show for me. I mean, I know there are people out there that love this show and would put it much higher than me, and that's great. I'm glad, but it's just not for me. And yeah, so we've got season 1 of Black Lightning, which has him come back to being Black Lightning from being him not being him for years. We had Khalil in this season. I think this season was very mid. We had Jen discover her powers. We had the other one discover her powers too. Thunder and Lightning, both of them discovering their powers. Black Lightning season 2, I don't really remember what happened. I think they finally took out Tobias at the end and he got arrested. Yeah, it's, to be honest, season 2, very forgettable for me, so I'm gonna have to put that at bad. Season 3 is when the government or whatever took over Freeland, and there was like martial law going on, and for like the first 8 episodes or something, he wasn't Black Lightning. Thunder was a different hero for some reason. Jen got her suit. Her suit looks really cool. This one's a little bit more memorable, so I'd probably put it at mid-okay, but barely. Season 4 of Black Lightning saw the departure of Jen. They recast her. They like had some flimsy explanation, and then when the series finale came around, they brought her back and had some flimsy explanation as to why that happened as well. I think the series ends with them just retiring from heroing, which kind of The most interesting character for me was always Khalil, so they had like a backdoor pilot in this one of like a TV show with him, which felt really random. I don't know, this season was kind of bad too. Sorry. Stargirl season 1. So this is the season where they start with her moving to town with her new stepdad, and you know, they develop a really sweet relationship. She slowly recruits people to be part of her Justice Society, which was fun to watch. The big bad for the season is the Injustice Society. I remember like being pumped as hell when I was watching it, so I'm gonna say this is great. Season 2 of Stargirl. This is a season where they had Eclipso, to be honest. This season kind of feels like a blur. I'm pretty sure I watched season 2 and 3 like pretty much back to back. I think that some of the JSA had quit half the season, which was kind of annoying. I think that this season was mid, to be honest. Hard to say because I think it's kind of forgettable, unfortunately. Stargirl season 3. This season frustrated me because I really liked the idea of Starman coming back into the picture and becoming like you have to like share the staff. I thought that was interesting, but then they just kind of made him a bad guy, and he was a giant ape. And apparently that was the idea all along, and just kind of felt like lazy writing, like a way to get out of that situation. I don't know, man. I just did not like it, to be honest. This might be really controversial, but I'm gonna put this at bad. It really frustrated me. Not much. It felt laughably bad by the end. I'm sorry, but it's... This is just my opinion, okay? I also have some complaints to make about Stargirl's titling of the episodes. Frenemies? What? Summer School? What? Ugh, frustrating. Alright, we have Superman and Lois up next. Season 1 of Superman and Lois was utter f***ing perfection. So good. So good. You know, the season begins with them discovering that their dad is Superman. And to be honest, every single episode I watched, I was like, how is this on the CW? This feels movie quality. You know, this season had Tal Rowe as the bad guy. Also, John Henry Irons. He was also an antagonist, but became an ally during the season. Seeing Jordan learn to use his abilities all season was fun to see. It was great. Season 2 of Superman and Lois was pretty good. I think that the like kind of cultish storyline that they were going with I don't remember what her name was, but she ended up being Parasite or something? I don't know. I think that it kind of fumbled the bag at the back half of the season with the like worlds colliding, and then I don't know, it was a lot. I liked seeing the different versions of these characters and seeing John being the one with the powers and instead of Jordan. And it was quite satisfying to see Jordan put him in his place. This is also the season where like Sarah cheated on Jordan, but then made it out like it was his fault, which was kind of frustrating. I think in the back half of the season is when Lana finds out about the secret as well, which was really cool. I think that this was a good season. I think that there was some missteps, obviously, but it was pretty good. Season 3 of Superman Lois, we had Lois dealing with cancer. We had Bruno Mannheim and his wife also dealing with cancer as well. Jordan kind of pissed me off this season with like how he was like rebelling against Clark. But otherwise, this was quite an emotional and good season. I think I probably put this as good. They recast John in this season because the actor was having some mental health problems at the time or something. Hopefully he's doing better now. But, you know, after a little bit, I kind of got used to the new actor. Next up, we have Constantine. So this was an NBC show. It only lasted 13 episodes and then it was cancelled. They managed to introduce this character into Arrow and then into Legends of Tomorrow, where he became a mainstay. But this is about his TV show. I think that it was very, very okay. I think that I actually don't think anything of the show stood out to me. I watched it so long ago now, and I don't know. I know that they had some interesting characters in there. Like, I think that they had, I can't even think of the names. Oh my god, help. Look, they had some comic book characters in there, which was cool, I guess. And I don't know. This was forgettable. So I'm just gonna leave it at mid, okay? Mostly because I don't really remember. The Flash 90s TV show. So I watched this pretty much one episode a month, so it was really hard to get into on a regular basis. However, there were some pretty fun episodes. You know, the Trickster episodes were pretty good. And John Wesley Shipp did a great job at being Barry Allen. For some reason, they wrote off Iris from the show very early on, which was kind of annoying, but whatever. But yeah, this is probably pretty mid as well. They had like a kind of reverse Flash situation, but he was blue. He was like a clone or something. That was bizarre. They even had an episode where he went to the future, and I thought that was interesting. It was very heavily influenced by Batman 1989, for sure. Which is kind of disappointing if you think about it, because it's kind of a Batman thing, not a Flash thing. Flash has its own kind of feel, I feel. But yeah. Naomi. This is a 13 episode show, I think. This was really, really difficult to get through. She is literally the definition of a Mary Sue. I hate using that term, but it's true. There's like an episode where they have her be like, they're like, oh, you need to go turn off the bomb, but it's so far away you're not going to get there in time. And then they're like, you can just super speed, and she's like, I don't know if I can do that. I've never done that before. And then they're like, you can probably just do it. And then she does it. She just knows how to do everything all the time. And she's the most special person in the world. And all of the characters are in love with her. And it was very frustrating to watch. So this is utter garbage. Sorry, not sorry. Next up, we have some Arrowverse specials. First up, we have Vixen. this was a 2-part movie, kind of, or like a 6-episode mini-series times 2. I think that it was decent. I would have liked to have seen something live action though, but it was interesting having, you know, they had like Green Arrow and the Flash appear in there as well, I'm pretty sure. So it was interesting to see them in cartoon form, and a couple of other characters too. This is where we learned about the totems, so there's that. I think I'd probably put it at mid-okay. Bieber Saves Christmas. There was musicals in this. It was pretty bad. I don't have much else to say about it. Yeah. The Chronicles of Cisco, to be honest, don't really remember it. These were like very, very early on. So I'd probably put this at bad, because I don't think anything particularly interesting happened. Same with Blood Rush. I believe that these were like promotional things. I don't know. I'm going to put this one at garbage, actually, because I remember this one a little bit having something to do with bows, like speakers or something. I don't know. Freedom Fighters, the Ray. This character was introduced in Crisis on Earth X. This was kind of frustrating to watch, to be honest, because there were so many inconsistencies and it felt like it was not part of the Arrowverse. But anyways, I'm going to put that at bad. Next up, I'm going to be talking about the crossover events. I'm aware that these are part of the seasons that I've already ranked, but I want to rank these individually as well. So first up, we have Flash versus Arrow. I believe the first episode, they are dealing with like Captain Boomerang or something. And then in the second episode, Barry gets Roy-Jabiffed, maybe? I don't know. This was the first crossover event that they really had. Well, I mean, technically they'd had crossovers before, but like this is the first one where they're like fully committed to it. But I think it was kind of mid-okay. A little bit forgettable. Heroes join forces. So this is the episode where they're kind of setting up the DC Legends of Tomorrow. They like fully introduce Hawkgirl and like teach her what her history is, and Vandal Savage shows up. I believe this is the episodes where like he like demolishes the whole world and Barry just reverses time and does things differently and there's no repercussions. So that's kind of frustrating a little bit, because I remember getting comments about like suggesting in Flash time, why doesn't he just run it back in time, and people are like, Flashpoint, and I'm like, this didn't have any consequences, why would that? There's also something that I remember Felicity finding out about about William and being pissed about it, and it's none of your business. I think this one was mid. Had some shocking moments, obviously, but it was mid. Invasion! This one, especially the first episode, I think was really cool. It was very exciting to see everyone together, fighting as one, and if I had like one thing to nitpick about it, it would be that Barry was kind of hesitant to lead, and Cisco was still pissed off at him. And so we didn't get to see like Cisco being cool and fun and everything. Yeah, I think this was a good crossover. Crisis on Earth X. This is the Nazi crossover. Now, I don't particularly like Nazi content, but this was a lot of fun, I'm not gonna lie. This started with Barry and Iris's wedding, and, you know, we had Reverse Flash, we had evil Oliver, we had Prometheus show up, but it was actually Tommy, so that was interesting. We had an evil Supergirl, she was kind of cool, looked really cool. We ended the crossover with Barry and Iris having to share their wedding with Felicity and Oliver, which was really cringe. I think Martin Stein died in this one, so that was kind of sad. I think this was pretty good. I'm going to say this was a good crossover. Elseworlds. This was a lot of fun. Them changing, not bodies, but like changing lives. That was a lot of fun. Watching them all watching them both mess up, and Barry, you know, having his moment to like kind of get back at Oliver for like hitting with arrows was fun. There was a lot of fun callbacks in this one. This one was mostly a setup for Crisis. I think the like last episode maybe was a little disappointing. This was the first introduction to Lois, and I think that she did a great job. Yeah, we had Superman in this one. We have Supergirl. I think that this was a pretty good crossover too. There was a lot of fan service in this one. Crisis on Infinite Earths. There was so many cameos and so much fan service, and I'm going to be honest, when looking back at the story, it's kind of a mess. It's not good. It's very messy, and I don't think it's particularly well crafted. If it wasn't for all the cool cameos, like Smallville, that was so exciting. I'm still like not okay. But if it wasn't for those, it would probably be a mid crossover. But I'm gonna have to put this at good because of literally just because of the cameos. But otherwise, it was kind of mid okay. So it's a bit of both for me. Last but not least is the Armageddon crossover. So this was strictly a Flash episode run. This was 5 episodes or something, and we had cameo characters from like all of the shows show up. This wasn't good. I'm sorry. This was kind of bad. They had like some Royal Flush gang. They were cringy. The only good thing about this entire crossover was, okay, there was 2 good things. There was the reveal of Barry being Reverse Flash and vice versa. I thought that was cool. And the gold boots. But other than that, the whole thing was kind of a mess. So I'm going to have to put this one at bad. So this is my entire Arrowverse tier list. What do you guys think? Do you think that I've ranked anything incorrectly? Would you have ranked them differently? Let me know. And if you want to see more videos like this, let me know. Tell me what kind of things you want to see in a tier list, and maybe I'll do them in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.